Insta360 is best known for its 360 cameras, which I think are some of the best on the market, but now they are making a foray into the webcam market with the new Insta360 Link. This is a really unique 4K webcam that's packed full of AI features. And in this video, I'm going to show you how it works, but we're also going to see if you can vlog with this camera, because the answer may surprise you. So let's start with the good. The camera itself is really small and lightweight, coming in at 106 grams or 3.73 ounces. You can position the webcam on a flat surface, or you can also pop out the base to clip it onto a computer screen or attach it to a mount that has a 1/4-inch tripod hole. The second pro is that this camera is super easy to use. It's plug and play. So to get set up here, I'm going to use all of the included accessories. In the box, you get the Insta360 Link camera, a USB-C to USB-C cable, a USB-C to USB-A adapter for those of us who are still using computers without USB-C ports. And I forgot to mention this, but when you do the unboxing, it does come with these little stickers, which you do not want to throw out because you need them for whiteboard mode. And a mini tripod. The mini tripod is actually a really great vlogging tripod made by PGY Tech. It looks like they did a little collaboration with Insta360, and I'll be talking more specifically about this tripod in my mini tripod comparison video, which is coming soon. So the first thing we want to do is mount the camera and position it. In this case, we're going to mount it to the very top part of my laptop screen. Next, we want to take the supplied cable and connect the webcam to the camera. After the camera connects to the computer, then you'll notice that it powers on and does a little spinny thing just to calibrate. And so the next thing we want to do is download the Insta360 Link Controller app to the computer and then update the camera's firmware. After we have the app downloaded, then we just want to power it on and we are good to go. One other thing to notice about the webcam is that there are colored LED indicator lights on the base of the camera. The light glows green whenever the camera is on, and it's blue when it's in standby mode, and whenever it's yellow, there's some kind of issue that needs to be resolved. So now that the camera is set up, you can see the next pro, which is that the camera has amazing image quality. The camera itself has a 1/2-inch sensor, and it can shoot in up to 4K 30 frames per second, or even 1080p at 60 frames per second. The camera lens has a fixed field of view of 67 to 79.5 degrees, and it has an ultra-fast f1.8 aperture with an ISO range of 100 to 3200. This basically means that low light shooting is possible, and you get a nice separation between your subject and the background. The camera also lets you get pretty close to the lens, so it can give you really sharp details of your subject. So it's not exactly a macro lens, but it's pretty close, really great for details. The next pro is related to the ease of setup and how intuitive it is to use the Link Controller app. To give you a tour of the app, we're actually going to switch my camera setup to film on the Insta360 Link webcam so you can get an idea of how it looks and how you would use your desktop computer app. Hey guys, so I'm editing this video and realizing that there's a bit of a lag between the video and the audio, and that's because I'm using a screenshot software on my Mac to film the behind the scenes of the app. And so if you film directly with the camera, this lag does not exist. Hey guys, so I'm editing this video, and as I'm doing that, I'm realizing that that lag issue that I mentioned is a lot more significant than I initially expected. So I actually showed some of this footage to Insta360 and I asked them if it's normal or if there's a way to fix it. And they said that if you're live streaming using OBS, that there actually is a way to fix the lag. But if you're not live streaming, which is what I'm trying to do here, then it actually is a problem. And so there's not currently a fix other than fixing the audio in post-production, which is what I did for my ZG Cine sample footage video. And as I did that, it was a super tedious process. So even though you can fix the audio, it's a problem that they're aware of. I'm sure that they're working on fixing it. And so if there's anything I know about Insta360, it's that they make solid products and they constantly roll out updates to fix issues. So other than that lag, this camera is really great. Love the camera, love the app. They just need to fix that lag. And so be on the lookout for a firmware update coming in the future to fix it. So here we are inside of the app. And down here in the left-hand corner is the first setting that we're going to change, which is the image quality. So if we click it, we'll see 3 different options. By default, this is set to 1080p, which is an okay resolution, but honestly, I'd rather have it be 4K. Next to that, in the bottom center section of the screen are 4 icons. And this actually leads me to the next pro about this camera, which is the fact that it's a gimbal. So typically a gimbal is kind of like this DJI Pocket, where you use it in order to get stable video footage when you're moving. And so in this case, the camera is planted. It actually can't move very much because it has to be connected to a camera in order to film. So the gimbal isn't as useful for moving, but the nice thing is that gimbal can actually follow me around when I give it certain commands. So like right now, it should be tracking me. And so this is something that you can really only do if your camera is on a gimbal. And so let's go over those 4 icons. The very first one is the one that I just enabled, which is tracking. And there are 2 different ways to enable it. You can use the hand gesture, like what I'm doing right now. I'm actually pausing it now. But you can also come into the app and click on the tracking button down here. And when that happens, the gimbal will follow you around. And it's really nice if you have an environment that you want to show off, which, as you can see, this isn't the most photogenic area. It's kind of messy. This is our editing area of the office. But you know, you might be in an environment where you want to show it off. And in that case, that's where this gimbal tracking feature really comes in handy. The next icon here is for whiteboard mode, which can also be enabled with the peace sign. So for whiteboard mode, you're going to need those 4 stickers that came with the actual package. And so you're going to take those stickers and make the outline of your whiteboard. Now in my case, I don't ever use whiteboards. I don't even have one to demonstrate, but you can actually use this on anything else like a tablet. It doesn't have to be a whiteboard. But when you have it enabled and you place those stickers, the camera is then going to recognize that area as the whiteboard and it will zoom in. And this is a really great feature for showing off things or details that are on that particular object. The next icon enables a feature that I would actually use a lot, and that is overhead mode. So for this one, you're actually going to need an additional accessory in order to get the camera in a certain position. But when you have it set up, you can then click overhead mode and the camera gimbal will focus down to give you that flat lay or top-down shot, which is really great for showing off product details or details of any notes. Really nice little feature there. And the 4th icon we have here is for desktop mode, which is similar to overhead mode, but you don't have to move the camera. It can actually stay wherever it is. And when you do desktop mode, the camera will just shift down and show off whatever is in front of it. Now, if you want full manual control over your gimbal, you can actually do that using this little joystick here. And so you can actually toggle this up, you can toggle it down to the sides. And then there's also a little zoom feature here, so you can zoom in. And if you ever want to reset everything, your camera gets in funky angles, you just click on this little reset button here. Or physically on the gimbal, you can actually double tap the base, and that will reset the camera. Now, if you use these manual controls and you get it into a position that you might want to use again, then you can actually save this position as a preset. But now let's talk about image quality, because you can actually make some adjustments to the camera. So if we go up here next to gimbal control, there's image settings, and you can see that by default everything here is on auto, which generally is pretty fine. But if you wanted to, you can actually turn this off, and now you get full manual control over the camera. Now up here in the far corner are more settings, and this is where we can toggle gesture settings off or on. By default they're on, which is really nice because I really do like that tracking feature. So it's really cool to just be able to turn that on and off just by using my hands, or I can also use the L sign to zoom into the frame, or I can use the peace sign to do the whiteboard mode through the hand gestures. Below gesture settings, we have AI zoom, which is a nice optional feature here. So as an example, we're going to do head, have that selected, then we're going to enable auto tracking. And now whenever I stray away from the camera, it's gonna try to keep my face in the picture. So it's really nice just to maintain that same zoom feature whenever I move around the room. And then at the very bottom, we have some other settings, including anti-flicker, which I'm just gonna leave on auto. Tracking speed, you may actually wanna adjust this because it can really affect the way that the camera chooses to focus on things. So right now it's on slow. I can have it set to normal, or I can have it set to fast. And then below that, we have camera focus, which is set to auto. You might want to leave it on auto, but if for some reason you want it to be on manual, then this little slider appears and you can see it manually focusing. And HDR mode, which is actually really cool. I'm gonna show a little clip here of when it was especially helpful. You can see that when HDR mode is off, my background is just blown out and you can't see any detail. But if I have it turned on, then we can start to see detail in those blown out highlights. So really nice if you're shooting in high contrast lighting situations. Then finally we have mirror image, which honestly just confuses me a little bit, but there may be a time and a place to be using mirror image. And that is the end of the demo of this app here. So there are lots of things that I love about the Insta360 Link Webcam, but there are a couple of things that do bother me. The very first is the audio quality. So I do know that the camera is supposed to have really great built-in audio, but honestly, it's not the best when you compare it to external microphones out there. This is a sound test using the internal built-in microphones on the Insta360 Link Webcam. And this is what it sounds like using the Rode Wireless Go 2 external microphone with the Insta360 Link Webcam. The next con about this camera is that it gets really warm really quickly. Now, it does not overheat to the point of shutting off or even giving you any warning signs, but after a few minutes of using it, if you were to touch this camera, you'll notice that it feels really warm, and so it's just something to be aware of. The final con of this camera is the price. It costs $300 US, which is not cheap. And especially for a camera that's a dedicated webcam, you can't really use it if you're not attached to your computer. But with that said, I love that this webcam is so high quality. It shoots a super crisp 4K. The accompanying software is super intuitive and easy to use. And this camera has a gimbal on it, which is just unheard of for a webcam. In fact, to answer that question that I posed earlier in this video of can you vlog with this webcam, my answer is yes, if you film vlogs that are static and don't require moving around, which quite a few vloggers out there do that. So those are my final thoughts about the Insta360 Link Webcam. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below in the comments, and stay tuned because we've actually got a couple more webcams coming up. I'm going to do a very similar style video where I try to see if we can film vlogs with them and just see how far the webcam technology has come. So stay tuned, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.